Hi, I'm Josh Ludwig. I'm the Global Commercial Director of ScaleReady, and I am here with Ignacio Nunez. He is the Chief Operating Officer at the G-Rex-centric CDMO in Houston, Texas, called CellReady. And I have a few questions for you, Ignacio. Some important topics about manufacturing, but starting from the top, what is lean? I keep hearing about it. What is lean? Could you define that?
Well, the definition that a lot of people would use is the relentless pursuit of perfection. Is structurally address waste and remove waste in the organization. Now, I've been teaching and applying Lean for many years, and I got my own definition. Would you like to hear?
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
So to me, Lean is the structure application of common sense. Now you will have to think and define, well, what is a structure, what is common, and what is sense. But if you think about it, look, um, if you go to your house, for example, nobody has to tell you, hey, you have to clean. Probably you go to your kitchen and you have some sort of visual management. Probably you have some structure of some sort, right? So you may think, well, do I need really a Japanese sensei? Do I really need a continuous improvement methodology to tell me to do all that? Because I'm doing it already, right? But the answer to that is like, well, when you put everything together in a framework, you generate a culture, you generate a structure that actually help to be way more efficient as a corporation in your company, right? And that
And
what makes sense.
And that makes sense. So relentless pursuit of perfection is the common standard, but in your mind, it's almost more simple than that. Applying common sense
No sense.
rigorously throughout the organization. You give the whole organization a framework that everybody knows to work within, and you could also be able to call out if you're not seeing people or the operation adhere to that framework.
I love it. Apply common sense rigorously. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, definitely.
so I'm curious, how would we, you're talking about applying it to your personal life and then to an operation. How would we apply this within the cell therapy space, or how are you suggesting it needs to be applied?
Well, one of the important parts of cell therapy is the industrialization side, and everything is around processes, right? To do more with less is to become predictable, to be very efficient, to be very effective. So, efficiency is around process, effectiveness is about quality, right? So, you want to deliver the right product at the right quality at the right cost, right? So, lean is all about that end to end. So actually, not to apply lean is really missing out. And now, in times where funding is not uh, openly available, and it was before, lean is free, right? You only have to look into your processes and look into how you can do things differently. And that does not necessarily imply changing your science. The science can remain the same. It's the industrialization part that you can actually utilize methodologies such as lean to make it much better.
And it sounds like it's built on the backbone of self-discipline,
Yes.
to yourself, to the organization, to the process.
Yes. And actually, that's a really good point because when you are very disciplined, you become much more predictable through standards, right? And if you think of a company is a chronology of things that are happening. You are part of a value chain. You have material flow and you have information flow. So when you become predictable, the organization can also organize around you. So if you are not standard, you are not predictable, by definition, you are going to catch somebody in your organization, in your value chain off guard. And that's not bad. That's not good.
So you've pretty much answered this, but I got to ask, why is it important? Why should we care? Why does the industry care?
Well, because you have a massive impact in terms of cost control, for one thing. You can
It's all
also
you hear about at the events, right? The cost of the therapy is driving the cost down.
right, but I think that the costs are also driven by the wrong decisions. People don't really look into their numbers or know their numbers, and that's another thing that becomes very easy to see when you are deploying standards, and lean is all about deploying standards.
So at the end of the day, the importance is, well, lean is lean is actually fairly simple if you think about rigorously applying common sense. why it's important from a funding standpoint. And I think now when there are funding challenges, if you can be a group that's operating and living the lean manufacturing way of life, you're going to have a huge advantage.
And I believe you will become a sexy investment for investors too. It's going to be like an easier sell.
Well, thank you. Thanks for the time. Appreciate you educating us on lean manufacturing. And, we are here to help you become lean. Talk to Ignacio, visit CellReady, talk to us at ScaleReady. Thank you.